Hi, it's Mr. Canada, and we're going to estimate roots of positive numbers. So we're going to take two approaches. This first video will deal with trial and improvement, kind of a traditional method that most people do. And then the second method is a method I like because it's really accurate and quite easy, actually. So, first one, estimate the square root of 22. So step one, we want to find the smaller root and the bigger root of the number, right? So this is where knowing your roots can really be helpful. So I know that my smaller root, right, is square root of 16, which is 4. And my larger is square root of 25, which is 5. Right? So I know 4 squared is 16, 5 squared is 25. Right? So 25 and 16. So we're looking somewhere between 4 and 5, that means, right? So step 2, we want to find the difference between the two and add to the lower value. Well, not necessarily just the difference, right? We want to take the difference and divide by 2. We know that we're just finding our midpoint. So that's the 9 difference, right? 25 minus 16 is equal to 9. We want halfway in between. So we're going to take this 4.5 and add it onto our 16. So halfway is 20 point, oops, not 20.25, 20.5. Okay. So, and that is 4.5. Right, so that's our halfway in between. So since it's square root of 22, I'm just going to guess that we're at 4.6, right? So 4.6, 4.7. That's just a good guess. All right. So next one, we have the square root of 45. So what are some square root numbers? Well, we have 6 squared is 36. And we have 7 squared is 49. So one thing I'm going to notice is, well, it's more close to this 7 squared, right? So let's just see what happens when we do 49 minus 36. We're going to find that's 13, right? And if we divide that by 2, we'll find that that is 6.5. So halfway is about at 42 point, 42.5. Right? So we're a little bit past that. So I'm going to say it's 42. It's a little bit more than that. So that's because that's halfway. So we can say maybe it's about 6.7. That's a good estimate, right? Lastly, we have estimate 214. Well, that's really hard because that's some of our bigger squared numbers, but that's between 14 and 15 squared, right? Because 14 squared is 196. 15 squared is 225. So if we subtract those two, and keep in mind, I'm doing this all without a calculator because you should be able to replicate this. So that is 29 divided by 2 is going to be 14.5 added on to our 196. So that'll be 200.5, 210.5 is our mid. Okay? So that is our mid. We're looking at 214, so I'm just going to go and guess that, hey, let's just say it is 14.6. So the real values, because it's always good to just check how close we are. So grab out your calculator right now and make sure that you can be able to put in your actual values too, because it'll be really helpful when you go to check your own work. Because don't rely on somebody else. Everybody can make mistakes. So we're doing, it was a square root of 22, which was 4.69. So I'll do the actuals in red. Square root of 45 then is 6.708. So very accurate. And lastly, we have the square root of 214 is 14.62. So 14.62. Right. So where actually did I put that answer? Ah, there it is. Sorry, I wrote it up beside the wrong part. So here it's 14.62 is the actual to the estimate of 14.6. So actually, those actually worked out pretty well. But once again, you kind of have to do this whole. You have to know what your powers are. You have to do some subtraction, find the midpoint, add back on. Right. So here's 6 questions. Don't know why that says 5. 6 questions. Please give it a go, and then once you're done, we'll take up the answers. Okay, so same thing here. We are finding the difference, right? So we just did this, and I'm going to go and just give my estimates. So square root of 19, we have the square root of what? That's 4 point. Sorry, 4.6 is probably a good estimate. Here, our closest things are 7 squared and 8 squared. So that is 49 and 64. I worked out this one that my guess is going to be 7.1. Next, with the root of 86, I guess that one as, sorry, not 8, 9.3. So yours will be maybe a little bit different because obviously what your guess was after we got it close, right? Trial and improvement, right? Square root of 168. Well, I know 169 is 13, right? So mine was 12.9. I actually went as far as putting 12.95. This one, cube root of 50. Well, 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. So 3 cubed is 27. 4 cubed is 64. Right? So I took this one as kind of 3.6 when I did it. And lastly, the cubed root of 70, right? So I took this one just as 4.15. So you don't have to be that accurate. It was just me going on and guessing. So let's check. Like I said, yours are probably a bit different, which that does not matter one bit. So get your calculator out and follow along. Some of you probably would have checked your answers before here. So here, the actual answers I'll do in blue, 4.3 or 4.4. Sorry. I'm just going to do 1 decimal place. So here we have 7.1. So that one was a pretty good one. 86, 9.3. So after you do enough of these, that's why we practice, you kind of get a handle for it. For some of them. Here, this was 12.96. Cubed root of 50. 3.6. 3.7 after rounding. And 70, the cubed root of that was 4.12. So, right. So pretty close. Pretty close.